Well, I've always been creative, and you and Dad have been creative as well. So growing up, we were always painting, whether it be our hallway in the house we grew up, or um, just having that opportunity and that space to practice and grow.
Were there different mediums that you were using back then that you gravitated towards? Like, were you doing any sculptural stuff or painting stuff or?
We'd mainly use, initially, washable paints and stuff, but then mainly acrylic because it's quite affordable and you can experiment a lot with that. And I was really into plasticine at a point, and I loved to make lots of little animals and people and stuff like that. And I really liked getting into the detail and working with my hands as well. And I've used a bit of clay as well, but yeah, I've just sort of recently started using the watercolor, trying something else new, and I find that it's something that you have to just allow it to do what it wants to do. It's very loose, and so that's something that I'm learning, a new thing that I'm learning with it. You can't have as much control over the results.
And how does that make you feel in that process of letting something just do what it wants?
I think it's very good for me because when I do my art, my goal is sort of to let go, I find myself in sort of this meditative state. I'm very calm, I'm very focused, and I'm very patient. I can do it for hours, and that's sort of when I feel, one of the times I feel most at peace is when I'm just painting, and I'm very, very present. These are a new investment. They're art tool kits, and this is the large one and my small one. And inside I have some art supplies and some watercolor palettes. And I have my watercolor blocks, and I'll just finish taking this one off because I will start another painting of the beach here.
It's interesting that it's attached to all sides. Is that to stop it flapping around, or?
Yeah, and then when you're painting, it's basically, instead of, say, you were to tape around the edge, it's glued on all sides, so then your painting doesn't ripple and bubble, and then you've got a nice flat painting when you're finished with it.
So it's like a portable canvas. Yeah, you don't have to stretch it.
Yeah, and that's what I love about this, because then I don't have to bring something out with me to tape the piece of paper on. So my goal for these kits was to make everything as portable as possible. You can see that, like, this is like an even smaller version. I could put this in my bag and bring it anywhere I go. This water brush fills with water, and then I don't even need a cup of water to put to dip my brush in, and it's super easy. If it was filled with water, you could just pull it out and start painting just like that.
Oh, I really thought of everything.
Yeah, cool. I've done quite a bit of research because I want to, I found that I wanted to find a way to combine my love of painting and art and being creative with my love of nature. So I wanted to start painting outside and painting my surroundings, and so I wanted something that would be super portable and easy to stop, drop, and get creative, basically. And I even have a smaller palette right here.
Well, clearly they had you in mind, because you like compact, and it's awesome.
We've got another little, working on this one as well. I'll have to finish this one later, but this is an even smaller watercolor block. So I've just started playing around with this technique, which is 3 layers. The first layer, I wet the page, and I actually used this for the first time, and it worked great because I could keep the page very wet while I painted with it. And then
Can I see that?
Yeah. And then I'm gonna do
It's very soft.
another layer and sort of get the shapes a bit more defined with what's going on, and then I'll do my 3rd layer of shadows afterwards. So I'll probably just sort of figure out where things are before I get into all the shapes.
So what have you learned about yourself through this creative process?
I've learned that I need creativity in my life. It's an essential, a non-negotiable, because it's one of the things that makes me happy. And I have also learned that I really enjoy the whole process, and it's not so much about the end result, but it's about just playing with what I'm doing, and it's experimenting and trying new things. I actually have a little water bottle that I can clip onto here too if I am not using a water brush and I want to dip it in. Yeah, I'm gonna probably just wet everything.
So you find that it helps you to like work faster or looser, this technique, the watercolor?
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching videos on YouTube to sort of get some ideas and learn, and yeah, I've seen this method just like for the first layer of the watercolor. It really, yeah, having the colors sort of blend together like that really makes the piece look more cohesive. Just start adding some color in. Just a little bit of this maybe, and some green as well. Do a little bit more.
So do you find, in terms of, what you might learning about yourself in the process, it sort of, does it allow you to perhaps be more free, or trusting, or like, how does it?
Both those things, really. I think I've done a lot of artwork in the past that is very, very detailed and very precise, which is fun, and I can actually relax and zone out and sort of do that process. But I really think this is a good practice for me because I am allowing the paint to do what it wants. I'm not controlling it so particularly. So I'm just gonna sort of just playing around with it, really. And this layer is meant to be quite light, so I'm trying to not have it too dark in places, just get a general idea of where the colors are going to be.
So is it like you're working backwards or in like negative space,
Yeah.
or you've got to think?
Yeah, you have to think about where the light and white parts of your picture are, because you need to leave those for
Right.
those spaces.
The
And
highlights have to be left alone.
yeah, which is interesting for me to learn, and it can be quite difficult because I'm so used to doing the light colors later when I paint with acrylic. And squeezed some more water out there to help blend the blue out.
So you can control the amount of water that comes out of the brush at the same time.
Yeah.
Like you're dipping the brush in the paint, but you can squeeze the back of the brush to control how much spread you get.
Yeah, yeah. I tend to do things, when I was talking about the precision in some of my previous artwork, I tend to do things quite slowly, which is okay. But what I like about this is, you know, the clouds have been moving and stuff. It forces me to move more quickly and think more quickly, and I think that's a really good way to practice making art as well, because you can be more intuitive. Yeah, and you know, not everything has to be exactly where it is, because it's the first layer and it's quite light. You can sort of yeah, you're putting all the details in later. I've come to realize that the beauty of art is the artist's interpretation.
What is that you've got there?
This is my little container where I put my water in, just one of those silicone camping cups. I usually just use it like this because I don't need it too deep, and I find it's a bit more stable like this. Water. And I can carry on. Add a bit more green. I think I'll leave the first layer like this and we'll let it dry, and then come back to it for layer number 2.